Team Zone that all day. In fact, we'll probably end up streaming it, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You better believe it. If they start a ladder, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be number 1. I promise.
I got one coming.
It'll just be me and you at like 3 in the morning, just on ladder all day. We'll just be like, come
I'm
on.
gonna metagame you so hard. I'm gonna make sure you never get number 1.
No.
Add all the strange terms you want, buddy.
You can keep like a list of decks you can play, and you don't actually have to select one until like you click. So you can just kind of like randomly pick one over and over and over, and then you just play something different every time. You can't metagame that.
I'm not that clever.
He's too lazy for that.
Alright, the next thing I have on
By
my
the way, go Heat!
Oh man, get out of here. Kick him, Sam.
You got it.
Give him the axe. Yeah.
Yeah! Nah, I gotta bring him back.
Alright, way to go, buddy.
First gonna hit a 3 right here.
Alright. The next thing I have on the list is judges.
It's hard.
What?
It's hard. Or the people.
No, people. What do you think of the judge system, and what do you guys think of the level of how judges kind of interfere? I don't want to... How judges interact with games. There we go.
What you trying to say?
I think at the local level, we're all used to who we play with all the time.
I mean like upper tier.
I mean when we go to the upper level, it's like who they bring in to watch it, you know, and they're so proactive. I feel they headbutt right into your games, even though maybe your opponent doesn't even care, you don't care. I feel they overstep their bounds sometimes, especially as you go on in the tournament, you know. The later it gets, the more they interfere.
Yeah, I think they're way too overzealous. I mean, not like the upper, like the tip-top level judges are like really spot on and they're good, and it's just like the mid level who like know the judging rules but don't know how to read intent, and they're the ones who like jump in and like kind of interfere a little bit. Like there was this one game when I was playing at Worlds where I was just doing a deck search for Roseanne, and I was like, I put the 3 cards I was like thinking about, like an energy and like a ball point or Ralts, and I was just kind of mulling over what 2 I wanted, and he comes up to me like mid-search. This judge comes up to me mid-search and goes, the way you search your deck is very suspicious. And I was like, oh, and he goes, you better be careful. I was like, wait a minute. At first I kind of blew it off, and then after I kind of like stopped what I was doing for a second and thought about what he was saying. I was like, did this guy just like accuse me of cheating, like just very subtly? And the worst part is that like that also interrupts like your train of thought too. So yeah, that is.
Like that.
Like this guy, yeah. Shit. Okay. Yeah, they also interrupt like your train of thought, and when they interfere like that, it's like, why are you doing this to a game no one asked you to like interfere in, and then you just kind of bounce in, make your ruling, and then leave? Like an example of that would have been like, again at the same tournament, with Sammy and Frankie Diaz. Yeah, if you guys don't know, the story about this is Sammy did a bright look and then a touch of energy. And when he didn't say bright look, what he did say is bring up Gengar. clearly, and both players acknowledged it as the bright look effect. And then a judge just came swooping in and just said bright look didn't happen. And everyone was just like, what are you talking about? And because Sammy didn't say bright look, he said, bring up, Gengar. Well, tough shit. And, yeah, it got ruled that bright look just never happened. And then Frankie just ended up leveling up his Gengar, leveling down to level X, and then one-shotting it with Poltergeist or something like that. So, I know Puka has a story about judges too.
I got quite a few of them, but I know Krim has a lot to say about this, so I'll let him go first.
Alright, Krim?
I don't really have anything to say about it.
Yes, you do now.
Alright. No, obviously they need to be a little bit more professional, but I mean, that just depends on the training. It's not their fault so much.
No,
so, again, if the game starts growing when something about the judges, they should do the right thing.
Now, is it more a judge's fault, or is it more the way the system is, where they can't differentiate between the upper tier judges and the mid tier, and so they just end up bringing whoever's a professor?
Well, I mean, obviously that needs to be worked on too, but for the most part, I think it's just the rules are ambiguous no matter what game. If you're playing a competitive strategy game that has some luck involved, then the rules are going to be ambiguous. So what you have to do is you have to teach people to differentiate, whether stop laughing, to differentiate whether they should, be proactive or be reactive. You should be proactive when there's an obvious case of, maybe cheating or stalling or something or the other. But if it isn't obvious and if it's, if it could be going either way, then let them do their thing. If it becomes an issue, then at that point you butt in. But a lot of people are just overzealous. Maybe they've just been taught that way gets you promoted. Maybe they've just been taught that way gets you to be a head judge or whatnot. So if that's the issue, then of course, if I was a judge and if I saw that everybody that was overzealous get promoted, and at that point I would also be overzealous if I wanted to be a head judge at one point or another. It just makes sense. But it starts off with the people training them, and then it goes.
Yeah, I think there is like no training system for judges. If you ever watch an up and coming judge, it's like literally, here's the battle road. Oh, you've done enough of these? Have fun at nationals. And then you have those people who don't really have any real experience. They just kind of have their local, everyone's buddy experience. And when they're dealing with people they've never met before, it's very literal on the rules. It's very literal, and my sound's off. Hold up. Let me just restart this. Okay, we got sound back.
We got a win in my ass, so good luck.
Alright, sounds back. Sounds bad. Every time it thunders really, really hard. Well, just for 5 seconds.
We were just talking to the longest time and it was off?
No, just for 5 seconds. Every time because the weather won't agree with this show right now. Every time it thunders really hard, my sound goes off. So, just bear
Well, in case you guys didn't hear it, Kyle asked me, what the difference is between Madden and I play Madden, so I have a little bit of a background knowledge on it. There's just, those guys get trained well, those guys actually, obviously they get compensated for it, so that's a difference. But those guys take their job seriously, they take the job, they have to be good at it or else they get demoted. So I don't think it's ever going to be at that level in Pokemon. But if it ever even gets remotely close to that level, then we're going to be taking a step forward. And that's what we need to do.
Yeah, so they think if they added in judge tiers like Magic does, that would help?
I don't think that's ever going to happen. If it does, then that's great. But I think that all they have to do is actually just have maybe like a crash course, maybe the day before the tournament or the day of the tournament, a 1 hour or 2 hour crash course.
They do though.
Have the best judges do it.
They do.
Go a better one, because obviously they're not doing a good one. They need to tell them, that butting into somebody's game and telling them to speed up is not going to help any matters. If anything, it's just going to cause for a bad game, because either A, the guy is going to hurry up and he's going to lose his train of thought and he's just going to screw up, or B, he's not going to listen and he's just going to get a warning for no reason. It doesn't make sense. If it's taking on a reasonable amount of time, then either A, at once that play is done, warn him, or B, warn him right away, but that's it, I mean, personally, I believe that B is the worst option, but if you're going to have to do that, then make it that way, period, throughout the tournament. I don't want to see a judge do that and then a second judge lets another guy, do it for 5 minutes without saying a word. It should be equal around.
Yeah, there is a little bit of inconsistency with rulings in tournaments. Like, one player will get away with one thing, and then there's a lot. Okay, I'll say it. There's a lot of inconsistency. At least in the Swiss rounds, when you get higher up, it's not so much of an issue. But then again, there's less penalties when you get higher up because everyone's just playing perfectly. So, yeah.
So you have said that they don't get trained, right?
Well, they get crash. They go their training is pass the professor test, which is actually really easy. It is not difficult.
I passed it. I haven't played a game in years.
Yeah, it is not difficult as long as you have a basic understanding of the game and then how tournaments are run. And kind of common sense with dealing with little kids. That's all you need to know to become a professor. And that's fine as an entry test, but then you have to do a certain amount of judging or league leadership, but it's not the same as judging even a regionals. So the Nats judges, Nats and World judges, well not the World judges, but the Nats judges at least, you just kind of get anyone because it's such a big tournament. I understand that they're low on help, but they need to have some kind of standard and
compensate them a little bit better. I think you just get one booster box for an entire day's judging or something like that. That's a reasonably large event. Compensate them better. It doesn't cost them very much money, and you get better judging, and as a result, you get better competition. It seems simple.
Okay. Well, does anyone want to add to this topic before we go to the next one?
Yeah, I suppose. Before I get into my story, I just want to say I know how hard judging is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot of work, and I have respect for anybody who actually puts in the time and effort to judge at a big event, or any event really. But sometimes, man, this past year in Nationals, I have about 3 or 4 examples where I almost lost solely due to a judge interfering for no real reason. My top 128 match, game 3, game tied. My opponent just searching his deck for a collector, and a judge strolls over and tells him it's taking too long. My opponent and I both said, I don't think anything wrong is going on. We're going pretty normal speed. We just kind of ignored him. So then a few minutes later, I'm just called in my turn. We're tied. All I have to do is take a prize. So, play Cyrus, search my deck, and that judge comes over and says, by the way, you guys have a 5-minute time extension in the middle of my turn. So, it completely ruins my turn. So I would have approached it completely differently. Instead of taking this one prize and winning the game immediately, I have to plan for more turns. And if my opponent had not just said, no, that's garbage, I'm just going to concede because I don't want to beat you like that. That time extension was absolute garbage. I could have lost that game for no reason. So I think something like that is stepping way over the line. And then what else? Getting rushed constantly. It's probably one of the most frustrating parts when you're in a really stressful situation that requires a lot of thinking. enhance, and you sit there for like